Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before we get on to today's topic, we of course have to talk about the big news. I had a weekend Christmas celebration with my friends this weekend, and one of them has most definitely given me a cold. So if I'm a little bunged up or sniffly today, I do apologise. I'll try my best to edit any of it out. For all your messages and comments, of course I saw it, my friends. And spoiler alert, I am just as hyped as you are. In the unlikelihood you have no idea what I'm talking about, on Friday afternoon it was announced that Amazon Studios and the legend that is Sir Henry Cavill are finally going to be bringing us what is a long-awaited dream for us all: Warhammer 40k on screen. Obviously there's no real big details yet, but simply in knowing you've a true fan involved in this, with Henry Cavill being an executive producer as well as starring, I think we can all say what an early Christmas present this announcement was. I think I can speak for everyone when I say it's something we've all always dreamed of seeing, and now one day in our future it's becoming a reality. What more can we ask for than knowing it's going to be made by people truly passionate about the hobby as we are? I won't drone on because obviously it's been spoken about all weekend, but just what a Christmas present this announcement is. And I will just say, even though we don't know him personally, what a great thing this is for Henry. He is a genuine fan, and to see him be able to achieve his dream, something we can all live with him vicariously through. At this time of year, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting sentimental in my old age, but I find that really heartwarming. And I'm really happy for him, as well as us. No two ways about it, my friends, there are good times ahead. Now, there is an official announcement over on the Warhammer community website, so if you haven't, I recommend you go and check that out. But okay, reaction out the way, on to today's topic. And today we are discussing the Codex Astartes conflict with Guilliman versus Dorn. Was there more behind their disagreement than just the breaking of the legions? Will we see the revelation of the Primaris? General spoiler warning to begin, as today we will be discussing events from across the Warhammer 40k universe, so you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. For all that the years of the Great Crusade represented the hope for the Imperium's future, the attempt at achieving the dream, the years of the Scouring were the abandonment of those notions. The change from the Imperium as it could be to the Imperium as it had to be. The biggest change the Imperium would face would obviously be the forsaking of the Imperial truth and the embracement of the Imperial creed, the worship of the Emperor as a god. However, this was a development that would take years to unfold, to spread across the full breadth of humanity, enveloping the galaxy entire. A gradual unfolding. A far more immediate, pressing change would be Guilliman's implementation of the Codex Astartes, the infamous breaking of the legions. Once revealed, it was something Guilliman would demand all his brothers adhere to. Legions were the Imperium's past, and chapters would be its future. Now, for as long as we've known of the Codex Astartes, we've known of Rogal's objection, his opposition to Guilliman's intention. And we know when we reach the Scouring series, we will see this disagreement push the Imperium to the very brink of yet another civil war. However, all that said, lately, I've really had the growing feeling that there may be a twist to the expected tale. A development, if you will. And it was something that actually really popped back into the forefront of my mind to discuss last week when we were discussing Guilliman and Sanguinius. In particular, how the Primaris project could be involved. The more that time passes, the more I've really begun to wonder if the other Primarchs actually did know of the Primaris project, and that maybe that was actually a huge part of Rogal's objection. We know in the aftermath of the siege that Rogal is going to become a broken man, consumed with grief at the loss of his father, feeling the sense of failure weighing heavy on his shoulders, an unbridled rage at the betrayers still remaining. We know in his objection to having the legions broken, it will lead to genuine conflict once more between the remaining loyalists, and that Rogal will only relent at the very last moment. And I will say before going any further, having Rogal be so fiercely opposed to having the legions broken, his legion, does completely 100% make sense. I may be talking a theory here, but even if it doesn't transpire, I will not be disappointed in the slightest, because I can't wait to see the Rogal Dawn the Scouring series will give us. This bruised, battered and broken Rogal, who gave everything he could to hold out for time, who asked his sons to give everything they could, and did, who held out for longer than even they expected they could, and it still wasn't enough. To have him then be faced by the brother, who arrived late, who never even made it to Terra in time, and to be then told you need to break those few survivors up into chapters, I think we can all understand completely how Rogal would be against that. However, this law has existed for decades, evolving over the years, and although undoubtedly the ultimate reason for Dawn's anger would be if he found out why Guilliman was late, cough cough Imperium Secundus, we do now have the knowledge that it was during this time that Rabute instructed Belisarius to begin the Primaris project. And somewhere along the lines as we enter into the Scouring series, we will surely see this new law unravel, finding out exactly how it all played out. And the closer we get to seeing the Scouring, not only do I get more excited about it, but I also get the growing feeling that there could just be a twist to the tale. A revelation not previously known. And as much as we've speculated on how the Primarchs would react to coming back to the current Imperium, seeing these new strange Primaris amongst their sons, given the gravity of the project, wouldn't it perhaps make more sense if Guilliman had already told them about it? That maybe this was part of that initial private meeting with his brothers, where he revealed his vision for the future of the Astartes. That it wasn't just the legions he planned on improving, breaking them into chapters, but the Astartes themselves. And this could actually fit in a number of ways. Firstly, I wouldn't necessarily call it a retcon, as it would be more the case of revealing information we simply weren't privy to before. For Guilliman, considering the huge upheaval and change he was demanding with his Codex Astartes, the question would really be, why wouldn't he have unveiled the Primaris project as well? It is essentially part of his changes to ensure the Astartes never fall to chaos again. Belisarius was tasked with improving the Astartes in every way, including their loyalty, via the gene seed, considering at the time it was just an intent, a project for Cool to work on. It would really be nothing more than Guilliman presenting his plan to his brothers, all simply a part of his reforms, perhaps introducing Belisarius to them in the meeting. The Primarchs completely unaware how important this mere tech priest would go on to be. Really nothing more than a side note to the breaking up of the legions. And I'm saying meeting here, as I truly believe Guilliman would have to address this in person with his brothers. Announcing the Codex reforms via astropathic messages, I mean, that would be a huge miscalculation on Guilliman's part, and something I just don't think he would do. If he does do it that way, I will be beyond surprised. Now, from Rhogal's perspective, already incensed by the revelation of Guilliman's plans to break up the legions, hearing he too wants to improve upon their father's designs, in essence saying that their father failed, I mean, that would make it completely understandable why Rhogal was so enraged, why he was so against it, why he was so against his brother, why he would push it all so close to civil war. Because he was fundamentally opposed to everything Guilliman proposed, in every way. That it wasn't just the breaking of the legions, that Rhogal was presented with Guilliman fundamentally changing everything the Astartes were. Given Rhogal's bleak state of mind during that time, for me it would make perfect sense why he'd be so angered at Rebute's intent. Now, admittedly, it's not perfect. Corax, for example, is said to have been supportive of Guilliman's Codex, and had Guilliman secretly announced the Primaris to his brothers as well, that would imply Corax supported that as well. And that's something I can't imagine him having liked the idea of, given his own recent history with the genetic tampering to say the least. So again, admittedly there are problems with this theory. However, we've never actually seen these events unfold. When we head into the Scouring series, we are truly walking on unknown territory for the most part. We've been told of 10,000-year-old legends, but the reality of the situation is bound to be different in some ways. Much like how our journey through the Heresy series has unravelled, revealing some changes to what we expected before, such as Lionel Johnson possibly sitting out the Heresy to see who would win. Now, having gone through the Heresy series, we've come out the other side with the Lion being one of the most loyal Primarchs out there. Maybe the question of this revelation is tied to how the Primarchs' natures will change with the loss of their father, and in particular Guilliman. As Lord Commander, he wouldn't have to reveal anything to his brothers. It's up to him to rule the Imperium as he sees fit. But in knowing the Primarch he was, how fondly he thought of his brothers, and still does 10,000 years later, you would expect Guilliman to tell his brothers of the Primaris project. At least one he was believed to be close with, one who he holds in the highest of regard, Rhogal. One who perhaps of all his kin, Guilliman would expect to see the merit of it. Which would be a fantastic moment if that did happen. Guilliman being taken completely by surprise by his brother's reaction. But say the law remains unchanged. Say we do see Cool being instructed to undertake the Primaris project, and it is all kept secret, that none of the fellow Primarchs are actually told of it. Would that then suggest that Guilliman himself has changed? In not sharing this plan with his brothers, would this maybe suggest doubts in his kin, he would never have imagined previously? Will the heresy irrevocably change the relationships between the remaining Primarchs, more than we have ever imagined previously? Or perhaps will it be the Scouring that will reveal a darker truth to the Lord Commander? As always everyone, what do you think? When we reach the point of the Scouring series and see Guilliman implement his Codex Astartes, like me, do you believe he will reveal it in private to his brothers? And that maybe as part of that meeting, we will see the revelation of the Primaris project, that he will tell his brothers his intention to improve his father's design. Will we see the Primarchs learning of the Primaris 10,000 years earlier than we expected? Or will we see Guilliman implementing the plan in secret, as we've always been led to believe? If this is the case, will it suggest a difference to Guilliman now than perhaps we would have seen before the heresy? Will it suggest doubts in his brothers that maybe we never saw previously? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. Once again, apologies if my voice is a little off today, I do feel a little bunged up. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.